So welcome back to another tactical video. I'm Vic, your host, and today we are doing Flamengo once again. It's my third or fourth Flamengo tactics video, and this time it's because they've gotten a new manager, and I also got a request on my channel to do a tactical video with Renato Gaúcho, who is the new manager for them. Sergio Sousa writes on my channel, "Como jogar o Flamengo atual de Renato Gaúcho?" And of course, new manager for Flamengo, that's something I want to check out. So let's start by taking a look at Renato Gaúcho's manager profile in my club. That can help us out a little bit to see what kind of formation he's using there. And taking a look at it here, in my club, he's called M. Abreu. And at the time the game was released, he was managing Grêmio, and the formation he's using is a 4-2-3-1. He's doing possession game, short pass up the middle, with flexible positioning, a 3 support range. And for the defense, it's frontline pressure with wide containment, aggressive pressuring, a fairly high defensive line of 7, and then a compactness of 3. The 4-2-3-1 is fairly similar to one of the tactical videos I did earlier this year. The only difference here is he's doing 2 defensive midfielders and he's doing 3 attacking midfielders without any like wide midfielders or wingers. But I think this can work pretty well for Flamengo. They have the players to pull this off. And before we head into like the tactical screen, I did some Googling. I saw a couple of YouTube videos on Brazilian. So I don't know if I was able to catch all the analysis there, but I saw at least some highlights from the games and goals they have scored so far. They have been playing pretty good under this new manager. Of course, Flamengo is a pretty solid team, right? So you would expect them to win a lot of games. So let's start by heading into the tactical screen and set up some tactics. So first, let's just take a quick look at what is the default formation for Flamengo in the game. It's a 4-2-2-2, which isn't too far off the tactics they are playing in real life. So let's make some adjustments here and make it a little bit more similar to Renato Gaúcho's My Club profile. Okay, so here I have set up the tactics, the formation, and I've chosen the players that he has been using so far. And obviously one thing that will not work here is Diego in the midfield. He is not a defensive midfielder. So one thing I would change immediately is to put center midfield on Diego right here. So normally I wouldn't start Diego. Like in the game, I would start Gerson instead. But he, in real life, he has signed for Olympique de Marseille. So he is not present in Flamengo's squad anymore. But obviously, if you play this game, you will have him available. But if you want to use him or Diego, really depends on how you want to play. At least Willian Arau, the defensive midfielder, has to be in there. He's really important for the press, the high press that they put on when they lose the ball high on the pitch. Willian Arau is there to try to win the ball back immediately so they can go on a quick counter and get the finish on goal. And personally, I would tweak this a little bit to get the most out of the players, because I think Bruno Henrique is much better as either a striker or a second striker. If he is gonna play in the middle, he has to play up top alongside Gabriel Barbosa. What I would do here, I would probably do something like this and make him into a second striker. And then you have De Arrascaeta on the left, which is pretty similar to real life. He operates a lot on the left side there. He can cut inside and he can finish. But it's really important to have, I think, Bruno Henrique in the middle, even though he is a winger in the game and he is prolific winger by playing style. In real life, he plays a lot in the middle and he scores a lot of goals. From the highlights I've seen, it almost seems like he comes from a deep position and tries to find the hole. So basically, he might operate more as like a hole player in real life. And he is also pretty good on heading. So you can do some crossing inside the box and Bruno Henrique will be able to head. You know, with Everton Ribeiro and Julian De Arrascaeta, you have two pretty good playmaker attacking midfielders who can score some goals. They can push inside, they can finish from range with long range shooting. They also have through passing, they can do some combinations with one of the strikers. So here you have a lot of flexibility up the middle. Also, one important thing when you play with this team is try to use Filipe Luis as the attacking left back. And this is something he is also doing in real life. Renato Gaúcho relies a lot on Filipe Luis to make overlaps on the left side. So one advanced instructions I would activate is attacking fullbacks to get Filipe Luis on those runs. Also Mauricio Isla, to a certain degree, is not as good as Filipe Luis offensively, so try to use Filipe Luis more. He will be able to do a little bit better passing inside the box. And I think this tactics is looking pretty solid. It's definitely worth trying out in the game if you want to do that. And when you play, I would play as much as possible through the midfield, and you're going to try to involve Diego as much as possible. He has some pretty good passing stats. The veteran who played in Europe a couple of years ago. You can use him as kind of like the playmaker, and then Willian Arao is going to be pretty much the kind of like a destroyer, right? He's going to be in there to try to break things up, try to win the ball back. Diego is not going to contribute anything defensively, so I think this looks pretty solid. And if you want to tweak it a little bit more, I guess you could maybe do something like this, right? Where you have Diego as more like an attacking minded guy, and then Arao down here. But I think it's important as well to get Arao as high on the pitch as possible if you want to win the ball back high on the pitch. And then I would almost consider putting them even higher up. Really depends on your opponent and how comfortable you are doing high press. Because if you get beaten, obviously you're going to have a problem, right? So if you want to adjust the positioning of these two, feel free to do that. And if you want to start Gerson instead, I think that is perfectly fine. You could maybe swap them out like this, because Gerson is left-footed, Arao right-footed. And other adjustments you could do is, obviously you can put the Arrascaeta further to the left to make him a left midfielder instead. You can do the same with Everton Ribeiro. So both Everton Ribeiro and the Arrascaeta can play pretty much anywhere up front, so you have some real flexibility here. So that's it for the Renato Gaúcho Flamengo tactics. I hope you find it useful, and if you like it, leave a comment for me. If you try it out, leave a comment about how it went, and if you have any requests for other teams to check out, let me know in the comments as well. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.